I'm Mia from the 33rd Legislative District, and it's really great that I've got my friend and colleague, Timm Ormsby, here today. Timm, I want you to know that you're one of my favorite people, both here in the state capitol and out. Thank you for being here. I know a lot of people talk a lot about how you've been here longer than some of our furniture. They say maybe the barcode is probably even expired on the furniture,
yes.
But you know so much about this, the process, and you're a wealth of information, and I just love you dearly.
Oh, bless your heart, and likewise, Mia. We've been good friends for a lot of years, sitting on committees together, interacting over issues of common interest and common pursuits. And I'm very humbled and pleased to be sitting with you to talk about what life is like here in the legislature.
We try to humanize this work. It's really hard work, isn't it?
Yes.
And you come from probably the farthest distance. You're one of our only East Side legislators. What is that like?
Well, early on, since I've been here for a long time, as you recalled, my children were of an age where it was necessary to get back home like every weekend just to get things straightened up. As they have grown, we have just been more Olympia-oriented in where we stay. That's a burden relief, not knowing what the mountain pass looks like and not having to make arrangements to do that. But you're a distance away, and so are our constituents. And that was a hardship in the past before we had remote testimony, which we now have, where they can actually, at the place where they are, in their home or office or study, where they can interact with the legislature and provide testimony and not make a 350-mile trip to speak for 1 or 2 minutes on a particular issue. So that makes it much more accessible. And communicating back with them is a challenge because of having to do it remotely as opposed to in person, where a lot of our colleagues represent districts that are within driving distance.
That makes sense. You and I have similar constituents in that regard. The distance that people in my community feel from the Capitol is maybe because of language barriers, or they can't take the day off of work. And I think one of the things that you and I share is the importance of digital equity and ensuring everybody has the ability to participate in the system. You know, Timm, how do you balance life's challenges? I think a lot of people wonder, how does a politician, make ends meet? How do we not be so serious? Are we actually fun to be around? What do you think about that?
I think about a couple of things. One, I think we should take our role here very seriously. We should take our responsibility seriously, but we should not take ourselves seriously. It is not about us. It is about the role we're performing. If we make it about us, we're going to make errors in judgment. We should be thinking about our constituents, about the global health of the state and our interactions within the U.S. and internationally, as we're a very trade-dependent state. We should think about those things globally, but when we're considering ourselves, a dash of humility goes a long way in maintaining our grounding and our ability to do what is difficult work.
Those values that you state, Timm, are the exact reason why you're the chair of one of the most powerful committees in our caucus. People trust you. They believe in your ability to make hard decisions. We're making a lot of hard decisions this year, aren't we?
Yes.
And I've always appreciated the way that you work as a team. Ultimately, that pressure does fall on your shoulders.
This is a team sport, and it's not an individual event, and people that approach it that way are generally very unsuccessful, with some exceptions. But working as a team, which I'm very comfortable with, I came from a big family. I learned immediately upon coming into this world that it was not about me. It was not about my success. It was about the success of the family, and in concentric circles of family. Here we find ourselves among this family in the House of Representatives that I'm trying to stake a place in that is useful, helpful, beneficial to the other members and to the people we're all here to represent.
Yes, tapestry. Timm, we came into this session knowing that it was going to be a really big lift to try to figure out what's happening at the federal government, whether or not it was the longest shutdown or H.R. 1, our communities are being separated, we're having to prepare for different programming. What do you think is going to take in order to make sure that this budget continues to have the thread work that we've always promised them, that we will have their interests in mind, that we will prioritize shelter, health, continuity of government?
all those things, Mia, that you mentioned, I think, as you said, we're focused on the most vulnerable folks. And as we began this process together as a team, we remain still focused on food, shelter, health, education. We remain with that focus. We need to identify and look out for the most vulnerable in our communities. And we have relied heavily on a partnership with the federal government. They have abdicated their role as our partner in the states, particularly the state of Washington, which they're in big disagreement with over priorities and what the federal administration would like to see and what we're willing to do and the impacts that it will have. So we need to look out for those folks. We cannot fulfill the federal government role as well as our own role, but we can customize what we do with our budget in order to buttress up folks so that they don't fall through the cracks, so that they don't end up on the streets. It will be a very difficult task to keep all those things in mind, and a lot of what we do this year, we won't find out about the impacts, right, for several months into the future. So you have to have a little bit of a crystal ball, but as you know, a lot of what we're relying on is our gut. And my gut is that we're not going to get short-term help from the federal government except through litigation, which takes a long time to resolve. We are not going to have them willingly repartner with states, particularly Washington State. So we've got to figure out what is a go-alone strategy for us and how can we best utilize the resources that are available from the federal government, although they're shrinking, but be creative and innovative in using them to maximize benefit to the people we're here for.
Well, I've been a vice chair now for a few years, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. I've really appreciated your guidance in helping me to become a better budget writer, and I've really enjoyed getting to know more about K-12 funding and early learning funding, human services funding, but there's a lot more to the process. Tim, do you want to tell me and tell everyone here a little bit about that process?
You know, I really count on you and Representative Macri to guide the committee hearing process because you have so much of the logistical responsibilities of getting people up to testify, of doing the parliamentary work that it takes in order to get a bill passed out of committee, heavily reliant on how efficient and proficient you are at doing that, and really appreciate it. And you know, when you have a third of the Washington State House of Representatives on one committee, it's a management issue, as you know. We have to manage that process and not delegate to people what they can and can't do, but to do it in an orderly fashion. Everyone knows the rules. Everyone abides by the rules. We're fair, firm, and consistent in the application of those things. That's important for the process to have a level of integrity that it's not getting gamed or played in a way that folks might be suspicious of.
That makes sense. And I do think that, at least since I've been part of the House, that there's been a lot of change in people thinking that there's some wizardry happening behind the scenes.
There's no magic, as you know,
no
right?
magic.
It's just hard work, and it's just grinding through what is an arduous process. And I tend to not think. You like to lift your head up every once in a while to see where you're going and where an endpoint might be, but we're mainly focused on what is right in front of us, so we do the next thing, then we do the next thing after that, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and we're done when there is no more next thing.
Well, thank you, Tim, so much. Representative Ormsby.
I am so pleased to be here. I'm so honored to be invited by you for a little snippet of your presence and communicating with your constituents. I'm very pleased and thrilled that you thought of me, and also really look forward to finishing up the work that we have to do with you and with our team. Thank you.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us today. Much love to you.
Much love to you.